Get paid to play with TVG. Join this summer and get in the action to earn up to $200. Bet to get $50 a month. That's $50 over the next 4 months. Go to TVG.com or call 1-888-PLAY-TVG.
Hey everyone, it's Mike Schutte with Horse Racing Nation and our video race of the day. None other than the Grade 1 Pacific Classic, mile and a quarter on the Poly track at Del Mar. And I gotta tell you, this is one of the better editions than we've seen, certainly in most recent years. A lot of subplots too here. You got the Chilean sensation Amani here, a filly, going against the boys. Very intriguing. Great effort in that Clement Hirsch. Do not leave this one off your tickets. We also have a bit of a controversy here with Richard's Kid. Ends up in the O'Neill barn out of the Baffert barn. Going to go for potentially the third victory here in the Pacific Classic. We have Where's Sterling coming in from Calder. Very interesting horse here that did very well in the Don Handicap. Looking forward to seeing how this one takes to the Polytrack surface. And then we have a 3-year-old here who just will relish the Polytrack here, back on his favorite surface, and that's Dullahan. We also have Suggestive Boy. This is a top Argentinian turf horse. Looked really, really sharp here in his 2 efforts at Del Mar on the turf. I think that form will translate well to Polytrack here. Could be an upset factor in this race. So let's see how this thing breaks down. I would encourage every jockey in this race to go back and watch last week's Arlington Million. See what happens when you let that lone speed loose on the lead, Little Mike. Let's not let that happen again here. In fact, everybody watched except Chantel Sutherland. We've got potentially the same situation coming up here. Not a lot of speed in this race. Game On Dude, look, top horse rated here. There's no question. I think this horse will definitely be in the top 4, but I don't think he's going to win this race. A little vulnerable at Del Mar. Not sure this is his best surface. And though the speed won't be fast here in the pace, there'll be a lot of pressure. Who's going to apply that pressure? I think the number 6 horse, Acadian's going to be a pace pressure factor here. I think Suggestive Boy too. Lots of that great early tactical speed. Going to be pushing out in the front. And Riveting Reason, I don't give this one any chance in the race, but I think this one's only shot is to push and test that pace on the outside. We'll see if this one actually becomes a factor early on in the race. So how do I see this one playing out? I got to tell you, after a lot of study here, I am going with Where's Sterling as my top pick. A horse that I will rotate in multiple slots in tries and supers. Why do I like this horse? I'll give you a couple of reasons. One, I thought in the Don Handicap, troubled trip, this one should have been at least second in that race. I think he's come back and certainly is beaten up on much easier. But I think he comes into this race, untested certainly on the synthetic surface, but I think he'll translate well. He's certainly been working well on the Del Mar Poly track. So I give this one a big shot to sit right off the pace, really gets the catbird seat here in this pace situation. And I can see this horse really coming on in the end and has plenty of stamina to do it and really close against, obviously a very sharp field, but do so at a huge, huge price. So this one is my top choice. Richard's Kid, I know this horse is another year older, but he still has retained a lot of that sharpness, loves this surface. I can again see with a bit of pace here, a lot of pressure, and again, not too fast, but a lot of pressure. I think this horse sits a little bit closer and has every shot here to make this his 3rd Pacific Class victory. Beyond that, Suggestive Boy, pace pressure factor here, but this is a horse that could sit up close and then get that first run against Game On Dude and be there in the winner's circle. So you got to look at this horse, factor this one as a win contender. And then lastly, I think the number 5 horse, Dullahan, just because he's back on his best surface, going to get a pace scenario that should be to his liking. This one doesn't have to sit all the way back. Will definitely be much closer mid-pack in this race. And I got to tell you, he's got a real shot here, and I think based on those last performances, he'll be discounted in California. Going to get a great price in this horse. Okay, so how are we going to wager on this one? It's going to be pretty straightforward. I like Where's Sterling either in the first hole or second hole of Superfectas. I'm going to work around that horse with a couple of contenders here. Dullahan, I like Amani, this filly. I do not want to count that one off the ticket. I like Richard's Kid, and I also like to include here number 8, Suggestive Boy. Again, pace pressure, gets probably the first run at Game On Dude, could take it all. So that's how we see the Pacific Classic. I encourage you to now go back to www.horseраcingnation.com. Plenty of great racing coverage this weekend. And also, if you haven't played in our Derby Wars tournaments, what's stopping you? Plenty of cash to be won. Let's test your skills against your peer handicappers. And certainly all weekend long, there are games going that'll fit your style and your preferences. So go to www.derbywars.com. And until next week, you know what I want you to do in these races. Go fast and win.